Today in this lecture of the chapter Magnetic Effect of Current, I am going to cover the topic Moving Coil Galvanometer, Conversion of Galvanometer in Ammeter and Voltmeter. In the previous lecture, you have studied that when a current carrying coil is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a torque and tends to be twisted. So, this property of a coil is used in constructing a galvanometer. As you know that galvanometer is an instrument which is used to detect the presence of current in any circuit. So the galvanometer is based on the same principle of a current carrying coil. So according to the principle, when a current carrying coil is freely suspended in a magnetic field, it experiences a torque and tends to be twisted. Now construction and working. Now a label diagram of moving coil galvanometer has been shown in the adjoining figure. Now just give a look in this figure very carefully. Now here the two diagrams are shown. The lower one is the front view of a pivoted type galvanometer and the upper one is a top view. As the pivoted coil is placed in a magnetic field. Now if you look in the figure, these lines are showing are the coil. In this figure, the coil is in the pivoted or is on a cylindrical core. Now these are the circular magnets or the pole of the two magnets. These are the pole of the two magnets, and here this is the cylindrical coil core, soft iron core, and here you can see that soft iron core is looking here. Now on this soft iron core, a coil is rotated. This magnetic, the concave poles of the magnetic field magnets, it provides a radial magnetic field. So radial magnetic field is provided by the concave shape magnets as well as the cylindrical shape of the soft iron core. Now what is the use or the benefit of this radial magnetic field? The radial magnetic field provides the plane of the coil always perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field. Now as we know that the torque expression of the torque is NAIB sine theta. So theta is the angle between the plane of the coil and the magnetic field. So by using the radial magnetic field, the value of theta is always 90 degree. So torque is always maximum equal to NAIB sine theta. Here N is the total number of turns, A is the area of the coil, and B is the magnetic field, and I is the current flowing in the coil. So the spring SP is attached to the coil. Now in the figure you have seen that the spring SP is attached to the coil. It provides the counter torque and in equilibrium state balances the deflecting torque. Deflecting torque is NIAB sine theta or NIAB. The maximum deflecting torque is NIAB and counter torque is because of the spring. Now if theta be the steady angular deflection, then the counter torque will be equal to C is equal to counter torque is equal to theta C, where C is the torsional constant. Torsional constant का मतलब क्या हुआ? Restoring torque per unit twist of the spring. In equilibrium, the counter torque and the restoring torque both are equal to each other. Deflecting torque, that is NIAB sine theta, it is because of the current in the coil deflects. So this is the deflecting torque, and C theta is restoring torque because of the spring attached to the coil. So in equilibrium both the torque will be equal, and we have NIAB C theta. Now in this figure, if I can write I is equal to C theta upon N A B, and in place of C N A B, if I write another constant K, then the expression reduces to I is equal to K theta, where K is equal to C upon NAB, and this is called the galvanometer constant, and also it is known as the figure of Marrot. So figure of Marrot is the deflection per unit, current per unit deflection. K is the figure of Marrot. Now from this expression it is clear that I is directly proportional to the deflection, or we can say that deflection is directly proportional to the current. So there is a linear scale or the linear dependency. So we can get the linear scale. So by using the radial magnetic field, it provides the maximum torque, and radial magnetic field is obtained by the concave shape of the magnets and the cylindrical soft iron core, and the linear scale is obtained by I is equal to K theta. Now the sensitivity of the galvanometer. Now sensitivity of galvanometer can be increased or can be defined in two ways, either the current sensitivity and the voltage sensitivity. Now current sensitivity is equal to the current per unit, deflection per unit current. Current sensitivity is deflection per unit current. In some books, instead of CS, current sensitivity is represented as I suffix S. So current sensitivity is of the galvanometer is given by deflection per unit current, or is equal to NAB upon C, or 1 upon K. The voltage sensitivity is the deflection per unit voltage. Since V is equal to IR, so it can also be written as theta upon IR is equal to current sensitivity upon R. And current sensitivity in some voltage sensitivity in some books it is written as V into V suffix S. So voltage sensitivity and current sensitivity they can be related with this formula. So current sensitivity again deflection per unit current, and voltage sensitivity is deflection per unit voltage. So sensitivity of galvanometer is high if a small current causes a large deflection. Now galvanometer cannot be used as such as ammeter to measure the value of the current in a given circuit. It can detect the presence of the current, but we cannot use the galvanometer as an ammeter. For this there are the two reasons. One, the galvanometer is a very sensitive device. It gives a full scale deflection for a current of the order of microampere. The second is, for measuring the current, the galvanometer has to be connected in series. In series means it has a large, but galvanometer has a large resistance, and because of the large resistance, the value of the current in the circuit may change. So to overcome these difficulties, one attaches a small resistance known as shunt resistance in parallel with the galvanometer coil, so that most of the current passes through the shunt. So the important question, why the galvanometer cannot be used as such to measure the ammeter? The answer, the two reasons. One, it is very sensitive device. It gives a full scale deflection even for a current of the small current microampere. And second, it is connected in series. It has to be connected in series. And for this, if it has a high resistance, then maximum current will not pass through it. So it will change the actual amount of the current flowing in the circuit. Now how can we convert the ammeter? Now here we can attach a small resistance in the parallel to the galvanometer. So most of the current which is passing through the galvanometer may pass through the shunt. Now if G be the resistance of the galvanometer. K be the figure of merit of or current for figure of merit means the current for one scale deflection in the galvanometer, and N be the total number of the scale division of the galvanometer. Then the current causing full scale deflection of the current will be given by Ig is equal to Nk. Now if S is the shunt resistance to be determined, कौन सा ये shunt resistance जो हमने पैरेलल में लगाया है, if S is the shunt resistance to be determined, then from the figure it is clear that Ig is equal to I minus Ig into S. Now how it is written? Now how, since the shunt is connected in parallel to the galvanometer, and we know that across the parallel the total potential difference remains the same in between the all components, means the potential drop across S and potential drop across galvanometer will be same. So V is equal to IR. Across the galvanometer it is Ig into G. Since if I current is flowing, then Ig is flowing through the galvanometer, then remaining I minus Ig according to the Kirchhoff's law. So from here Ig into G is equal to I minus G into S, and by solving it we get S is equal to IgG upon I minus Ig. So this is the value of the shunt resistance, and since shunt and G both are connected in parallel, so the effective resistance of the ammeter is equal to R. P is equal to Gs upon G plus S. If we talk about the ideal ammeter, then ideal ammeter must have the zero resistance so that all the current may pass through it. Ideal, because it is not practically possible. Now conversion of a galvanometer into a voltmeter. For this, a voltmeter is a high resistance galvanometer used to measure potential difference in electric circuit. Galvanometer can be converted into voltmeter by connecting a very high resistance in series with it, because the voltmeter is always connected in parallel. For this, the resistance of the voltmeter should be very high. Already the galvanometer has a high resistance, but by attaching a high amount of resistance in series with it, we can increase the resistance of the galvanometer and convert it into voltmeter. A potential difference V is to be measured by the galvanometer. A resistance R is connected in series with the galvanometer such that when potential difference V is applied across the terminals A and B, then current Ig flows through it. So the total resistance of the voltmeter will be equal to G plus R. Thus, when resistance R is connected in series with the galvanometer, the range of the voltmeter becomes 0 to V volt, and ideal voltmeter has infinite resistance. So using Ohm's law, the total current I will be equal to Ig is equal to V upon G plus R, or G plus R is equal to V upon Ig, that is R is equal to V upon Ig minus G. Now difference between the galvanometer we can tabulate like this. Ammeter, it is a low resistance instrument. Voltmeter, high resistance instrument. Resistance, effective resistance is Gs upon G plus S. Effective resistance is G plus R. Shunt resistance is Gig upon I minus G. इसी equation को simplify करके we will get the value of the shunt resistance Gig upon I minus Ig, and it should be very small. Series resistance is V upon Ig minus G, and it is very high. It is always connected in series. It is always connected in parallel. Why in series? So that maximum current may pass through it. The resistance of the ideal ammeter is 0, and resistance of an ideal voltmeter is infinity. The resistance is less than that of the galvanometer. Its resistance is greater than that of the voltmeter. As we know that whenever our shunt resistance is connected in parallel to any resistance, then the effective resistance is always less than the value of the shunt resistance. So its resistance is less than that of the galvanometer. it is not possible to decrease the range of the given ammeter, while it is possible to decrease the range of the given voltmeter. Now, an interesting point to note that increasing the current sensitivity may not necessarily increase the voltage sensitivity. It is also one of the very important conceptual question, that increasing the current sensitivity may not necessarily increase the voltage sensitivity. Why? Now we know that current sensitivity phi upon I is equal to NAV upon K, which provides the current sensitivity. Now we can increase the current sensitivity by increasing the N. That is, if we change N to 2N, that is, we double the number of turns, then from this equation it is clear that current sensitivity becomes double. Now, if we increase the number of turns, then what changes are in the voltage sensitivity? Let us see. Now the resistance of the galvanometer is also likely to double, since it is proportional to the length of the wire. So therefore, from this equation, phi upon V is equal to phi upon IR is equal to NAV upon KR. If you doubles N, then R also doubles. N tends to 2N means R tends to 2R. Thus the voltage sensitivity remains unchanged. So in general, the modification needed for conversion of a galvanometer to an ammeter will be different what is needed for converting it into voltmeter. So that is all for the today's lecture. Now here are few questions for your home assignment. Try to solve these questions, and if you have any doubt in any question, do not hesitate in asking me. I'll help you as much as you want. Thank you.